So hello, this is the GraphPad Prism software, which is also a spreadsheet software. Of course, it's not free like Excel. Excel is also not free, but this supports a lot more options, especially for the data visualization as well as data analysis. So the same data that we have already made it in Excel, so let us see how we are doing that for the literacy data. This is mean, standard deviation, and an n that you can specify it. So this is for the literacy rate. So first of all, let us make one line graph, the linear plot with standard deviation, right? So all I have to do is that I have to highlight this group A. So I have only one group. So group B, you can also try to add some mock data in group B and group C, group D, different countries. This is for the India literacy rate. So I just have to highlight the group A. Then the way in GraphPad Prism to add any kind of graphs are, just click here, new graph of existing data. I have to click this new graph of existing data, and then you just have to choose any number of these data. So these are all grouped one. If I actually put the downward arrow keys, then I can see that XY column, all these are coming up. So I just have to choose XY in this case. So as you can see, this is just the XY plotter, but this plotter also have the connecting line. So perhaps this is the best option for me to represent this literacy data. So I have to choose this one. This is connecting line with error bar. So now what this error bar I would like to show you is the mean and error. What error? Standard deviation. So if I click here, it could be standard error of the mean and 95% CIC. All these options are coming automatically in GraphPad Prism. So all I have to do is I click SD and then I click OK. So now you can see that the results have already been came up, not in this sheet, but it will be under the graphs. So this is the literacy rate. So as you can see that this is the result of it. So as you see that the error bar is all automatically done from the data itself, so it's very easy to do that. And as you can see that it's very nice and simple manner, rather than going for the color and other fancy items which doesn't convey much of the meaning. So if I have to change it, the title, I can simply click here and I can type anything on the chart title. Literacy rates, for example, I can just put it like that. So this is the literacy rate. This is perfectly fine. While X title, I can change that to the years. So this way, and this one, the size and all, I can actually change it by the graph, the change the format, the graph symbol, error bar, all these things you can do that. Format access also, range, custom text, grid lines, etc. So this you can play with the software to learn a lot more, but this is in summary of how to make one line plot in the GraphPad Prism with the error bar. So this is a standard deviation error bar. So instead of standard deviation, if I want to plot the 95% CI, then just have to choose this 95% CI as well. Now coming next is the second sheet. Here is the Pamp sheet. As you see, Pam is nothing but a pulse amplitude modulation, which is concerned with plant photosynthetic rate. So we now have got 4 treatments. So group A, group B, group C, and group D. So 4 treatments. So it's basically these are nutrients plus a combination of nutrients plus the temperature. High nutrient and 31 degrees Celsius is the temperature, while this one is low nutrient, 31 degrees. So there are 31 and 25, the two different kinds of temperature settings and two different kinds of nutrient level. This is high and this is low, high and low. So this is my table here, while the power values, that is, these are the frequencies. So 0, 1 all the way to 1076. So these are nothing but the wavelength of the light. So at each wavelength, how much is the values that I'm going to get. So all I have to do is that I just have to highlight the whole graph now, and then what kind of data is that? This is also a time series, as you can see that. So for this time series, again I have to add in, so insert, there is the new graph of the existing data, and I just have to click the same thing, XY lines, connecting line with error bar, and the error bar will be the standard deviation. perfectly fine. I click OK. So you can see that at each of the wavelength how much is the intensity I'm going to get. So this is very convenient way. So each one is highlighted here, though it doesn't make sense here because it's very hard to note these things. So I can change the color and everything from the change format, the graph symbols bars and error bars, all those things you can do it to change that thing. But still it's very convenient to create the graphs under the GraphPad Prism softwares. So now coming to the next one is the the box and whisker plot. So here you can see that in the cladophoropsis, so we have got various this one here, various, actually there are 15 replicates at each of these measurements. So let us actually create one box and whisker plot from this data here. I have to do is that just I have to click Ctrl A and highlight everything. I click here new, so new graph of the existing data, and I have to click here box and whiskers. So the convenient way of the box and whiskers, I just have to choose it. So here instead of grouped I can do a column, and inside the column can choose a box and whisker plot. So this is the box and whisker here. Now the whiskers will be drawn from minimum to maximum, or 10 to 90 percentile, or Tukey HSD. There are different options are coming up here. So 10 to 90 percentile is quite a standard in the scientific literature, so I choose this 10 to 90 percentile and I click here OK. So you can see that there are four treatments here: H31, L31, H25 and L25. Each one will have 15 replicates. So here, for example, H31, you can see that this is the lower, that is 10th percentile, while this is the 90th percentile maximum. And these dots represent the lowest and highest value, while these are whiskers are drawn to 10th percentile and 90th percentile, and the line here is at the median, and this is the lower quartile, and while this is the upper quartile. So this is a very convenient way to summarize the data under the box and whisker plot. Now let us go to the next one here. Next sheet is on the mango tree heights. So you can see that different tree heights here. There are actually a group A to group I. So many groups are there. These are all heights. Now let us just have to highlight all these groups here up to group I. And whatever the graph that I would like to insert, so you can actually go and check it out. So there are different kinds of graphs. So let us go first to the graph of the existing data, and I can just choose this data here, the column, and the column with the mean and standard deviation. Let us now find out how does it show. Look at that, very fast and very convenient. I didn't even have to calculate mean and standard deviation before I make this graph. Just clicking few points then itself is actually showing up this mean with the standard deviation. So this is really convenient way to draw this graph here. So we can also have the same kind of things. So from the same data, mango tree heights, we can say that new, so new graph of the existing data. The column is absolutely fine, but instead of mean and standard deviation, I can let us put mean with 95% CI, and I click here OK. So you can see that mean with 95% CI, this is nothing but a plunger plot, dynamite plunger. So this is also created very fast inside the GraphPad Prism. Let us go back to the mango tree heights, and then you can also make a, I suggest you to give a try with all different kinds of new graphs of this data. So you can also make one, of course you can also make a box and whisker of this data with minimum to maximum, and let us see how it shows up. See, look at that. So minimum to maximum and different box and whisker. So this is a very easy way to summarize the data in the GraphPad Prism. Hope you enjoyed it. Best wishes.